What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Taste Like Music. Jason and Joe here. It is Tier List Tuesday. Time to take a look at another tier list that we've got ready for you. Today, we're going to be rating and ranking different subgenres of rock and pop. This should be fun. I think this is an important video for anyone new to watching the channel. This is really going to map out what our tastes are and if you strongly disagree with everything in this video, you might, want to search for a different channel to watch because, yeah, this is going to tell you where we're coming from, I think, pretty clearly. You will see there's a bunch of different size genres, you could say. Like, there's some pretty big umbrella ones, and then there's some more like niche ones that fit maybe within an umbrella one that's already listed. So there's some overlap and things, but we'll talk about that as we get to them. First up is Britpop.
All right, it's Britpop. We're talking, and this one should be pretty obvious: Pulp, Suede, Oasis, Blur, Manic Street Preachers. They throw Supergrass in there, The Verve, stuff like that. It's a pop rock subcategory of alternative rock.
I think doing the channel and listening to a lot of these bands and their full discographies has actually made me a lot less of a Britpop fan than I maybe thought I was. Um, I mean, pretty much most of those bands I can listen to and be fine with and not be upset that they're on. So I don't hate the genre. And some of the bands I really like, I love Supergrass and stuff like that. So, but it's not a favorite. It's probably in like the B to C range for me.
I don't know if it gets to S for me. It's probably an A though, because the big four, well, not so much Oasis, but Pulp, Suede, and Blur, I like a ton. Probably my favorite genre of the 90s. So I don't know. A for me.
All right, well, we'll go A for now, but yeah. All right. Up next, we've got Dream Pop.
Right. Dream Pop. This is kind of shoegazy territory, maybe like post shoegaze. Um, the big albums on Rate Your Music are Long Season by Fishmans, Souvlaki by Slowdive, Heaven in Las Vegas by the Two Twins. You got like Beach House on there. Like Yola Tango shows up on this top ranked albums list.
So for me, there's some bands in this that I like a lot. Probably of the ones you just named, Beach House would be my favorite. I like the sound of it more than I like the songwriting, typically. But yeah, there's other bands that maybe wouldn't be even considered dream pop that kind of use that atmosphere that I enjoy. So I like elements of it. This is probably a B or C for me as well.
Yeah, probably it's tough because Rate Your Music is so bad that I don't know like what exactly fits in here. I know like Mew, not Muse, but Mew and Doves and stuff are in here. And who the hell knows? Just I'm a C. I'll go C.
All right. Now next up we've got emo.
Now, of course, people will quibble with what actually counts as emo, as much as any other genre, maybe more. But for this, we're counting everything from Pinkerton to American football, My Chemical Romance, Sunny Day Real Estate. They throw Modest Mouse in here. And, you got the emo pop, which I think this is the only emo one we have here.
We have
No.
Screamo. Screamo's later.
Okay, well, this will be pop emo and stuff like Midwest emo, all fall into this one. So no, it's a wide range of stuff. It's tough. Probably a C for me though.
Emo is weird for me because I really didn't like it at the time, and now I hear it and it almost makes me just still makes me nostalgic, even though that's not really what I listened to back then. And I've kind of appreciate it more now than I did at the time. You said C?
Yeah, I guess C. Maybe that one could move up to B. I probably like it more than Dream Pop on average.
Okay, we'll go B. All right, big umbrella category coming up next. We've got metal.
I mean, how do you even, that's so wide ranging. Um, Everything from Black Sabbath, Metallica to like more hardcore stuff, like technical death metal, like Death. They throw Rage Against the Machine and System of a Down in here.
We've got new metal
Also,
later in our tier list.
there'll be a lot of crossover probably. Um, I guess if you, I think we have to decide what counts as metal here.
It all counts as
Literally
metal.
everything's metal. Alice in Chains is metal.
It's all, yeah, count it all. It all.
I mean, if it counts all of that, then I gotta go S. I mean, as much bad stuff as there is in metal, you got Sabbath, Metallica, and Megadeth, and Alice in Chains, and they all rule.
There are metal bands that I like a lot, mostly like the classic metal and like the proto metal, early metal, forefather type of stuff. But the percentage of total metal that I really like is probably small. It's probably less than 5%. 1% of all metal is probably something I would enjoy. So
Wow.
so for me it's I can't go really higher than C, I don't think, but you would
Man.
say you're saying S.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, it's
Even on the whole. I mean when you
on
think
the
about
whole, the top of metal. I mean, if you're not gonna like break out like the British new wave of heavy metal and like I mean, I don't see anything else that would be a good fit. Yeah, I gotta go S for metal. Metal rules.
all right, so we're somewhere we can go A, I guess. Can't go S though. All right, next up we've got country rock.
Very underrated. I feel like the big ones here. We got Neil Young, Crazy Horse, Rust Never Sleeps, Magnolia Electric Company, Gene Clark, the band. You got like J J Cale, Flying Burrito Brothers, Wilco is in there, Graham Parsons. You even have a Kinks album. That's what Hillbillies. I feel like everyone can do a country rock album, and like everybody has, but like it's usually not like their main category, other than people like Gene Graham Parsons, who died after two albums, so kind of had to be. But yeah, I mean it's a big, wide-ranging category with a ton of different people in it.
For as varied as it is with different artists, it's I think almost all of it I love, so it's an S tier for me.
I think it's probably S tier for me. I mean, I'm just scrolling through RYM and pretty much everything rules.
I even think of a band like the Eagles, where I don't like the members that much, and their songwriting is hit or miss sometimes, and but it's just the sound. I just like that sound, so yeah, I can even get into them.
It also, all the well, it seems like recently new stuff you don't have a lot either. So it's like a lot of classics that like, and you don't have like that second wave of like the new metal stuff that ruins the metal genre. Like country rock seems to be just like these are the heroes of it. Every once in a while you get like a Wilco, a Magnolia Electric Company, but
Yeah.
like it's pretty much the standards are the standards, and they're gonna be like that forever.
All right, then we got cowpunk. So
Cappunk's a weird one. Big ones here. You got Meat Puppets, Violent Femmes, the Long Riders, the Beat Farmers, the Mekons, Hank Williams three, Hank Williams the third, and like Jason and the Scorchers is in here. I think Lone Justice probably is in here. I don't see them on this list. It's a weird ass genre though. It's just it's It's just weird. I don't even know how to describe it. Like listen to Blood on the Saddle from 1984. It's kind of freaky.
Yeah, it's a weird genre. I like some of it, and it depends what you count. Some of it might, be on the border between cowpunk and alt country and stuff like that. And I tend to favor the stuff that would be closer to alt country or maybe even across that line, like the early old 97 stuff and Uncle Tupelo and things like that. So most of the stuff that's really considered cowpunk is not my favorite. I like the Meat Puppets, but I don't really enjoy them until they kind of move away from that sound a little bit. So it's probably a D tier or maybe C, but
I'm going D for me. At least from what I found on Rate Your Music, there was not a lot there that I really liked.
right. Next up, we've got hardcore.
Hardcore shit is what is in this one.
It is it's an F for me.
Probably as a whole, it's an F. I do like the Dead Kennedys though. Bad Brains are okay. Nothing else really. I don't like we don't really do the Husker Du thing, so
Yeah, I
fine.
don't. Yeah, so hardcore punk. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking more of bands like the 7 Seconds, things like that. So, uh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know the lines of distinction that well, and nor do I care that much. I don't really like any of it anyway. So,
Road an F.
all right, good old hard rock.
Gotta be an S for me. This is Sabbath. This is Zeppelin. This is Queens of the Stone Age. This is Rush is in here. The Who, Deep Purple, Rainbow, Motorhead, Thin Lizzy, Queen's in here. Just, everybody cool.
Yep, no arguing for me. Stoner rock.
Stoner Rock is apparently more than just Queens of the Stone Age and Caius. You also got Monster Magnet, Clutch, Elder, Lowrider.
I'm a big fan of the riffage in stoner rock. Not always a fan of the vocals. Depends, but I dig the sound and I dig the vibe of it. It's probably like a B for me.
That's fine. Cool with that.
All right, next up we've got mod.
Mod is people may not be familiar with the genre. I wasn't. I mean, I know the Who, but apparently mod as a genre also comprises the Kinks, Face to Face is in there, the Jam, the Who, Small Faces, and pretty much died out. Well, you had the 64 to 68 Who stuff. Then you had the Jam, and I couldn't think of a single album that would fall into that since. So we're talking like old school stuff. Paul Weller is basically the only person still doing jam or still doing mod.
Yeah, I mean, I like the early Who stuff a good bit. It's my favorite Who stuff. I don't really like the Jam that much. This is a weird one. It's kind of hard to
It's like
even.
early Kinks, early Who, and the Jam, and Paul Weller, and that's it.
It's a weird thing too. It's a very British thing, and I think it has a lot to do with the culture and the way they dressed and all a whole kind of thing that I don't really, outside of the handful of records that I know are mod records, then I don't really understand exactly what it is. It's like I guess C, I guess. Feels all right.
Like as a genre, it's probably a C, even though most of the mod stuff that came out, I think is really good. But I don't know, it's too weird. I can't classify it.
All right, next we've got industrial.
Industrial, we're looking at the ooh, okay. Apparently we're looking at a bunch of weird shit.
Ministry,
Maybe. I don't even see them on here.
maybe some Nine Inch Nails.
Well, at the top of this list, we got Coil, Lingua Ignota, who's all about that neoclassical dark wave, baby. You got Scraping Fetus Off the Wheel. You got Zoviet France, Throbbing Gristle, Skinny Puppy.
Yeah, that all makes sense. That's an F for me.
Oh yeah, that is so F. I don't even see Nine Inch Nails on here, so can't even give you that.
I
Yeah,
guess
it's
if you're
just
real into industrial music, you would probably think that Nine Inch Nails aren't real industrial. So that makes sense, I guess.
guess so. Yeah, F that.
All right, next up we've got Heartland Rock, which you got your Johnny Cougars and your Springsteens and your War on Drugs and
Your Tom Petty's, your
your Tom
Gaslight
Petty's.
Anthems, some Neil Young stuff falls in there. Bob Seger peaked in 1985 and slowly faded away, but you got the War on Drugs kind of bringing it back.
Yeah, I think it's a sound that you hear a lot in the last 5 to 10 years. It's an interesting one because it's a sound that I like a lot, and I like all the modern takes on it, but I actually don't like a lot of like the like cornerstone artists of this genre. Like I'm not a huge Springsteen guy. I really don't like John Cougar Mellencamp very much at all. I do like Petty a lot. Probably like an A for me.
Yeah, I mean I like Springsteen a lot, so that definitely helps. Springsteen, Petty, Seeger. That's pretty solid. There doesn't seem to be a lot of dogs in this one, although I'm sure if I scroll down long enough, but like you even have some like Ryan Adams in here and Nils Lofgren and Titus Andronicus and Iron City House Rockers.
There you
All
go.
in all, I think it's pretty solid. So yeah, I would go A, yeah, for sure.
All right, next up we got Jam
Mm,
bands. Before you even look up the top,
just put it in F.
yeah,
Just
there we
I
go.
don't think we need to. The only good one is Grateful Dead.
Yeah,
Although if Dave Matthews falls into that, I might go like D. But as a whole, there's nothing good about jam bands.
and then we got new metal.
That's just an F. Just
Yeah,
don't even ask questions.
okay. Then we got new wave.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Like what all counts. I know sometimes you see things like when I hear new wave, I think immediately of synths, right? But also sometimes you see like Elvis Costello thrown in new wave or like the Knack thrown in some of that like more power poppy early 80s stuff thrown into new wave as well. Um,
Well, reggae music is also throwing in Remain in Light by the Talking Heads and London Calling by the Clash and Discipline by King Crimson.
I don't think any of those are new wave at all.
No, I wouldn't call any of those new wave at all. They have The Cure, David Bowie, XTC, Elvis Costello, Blondie, Devo. Basically everything that came out between 1978 and 1984
Three.
and
Yeah.
1983, yeah, is new wave. So
Even a lot of like what you just rattled off there, I think of a lot of that as more of like art rock.
yeah, I mean, Costello had new wave tendencies, but he's like pub rock, and then he does sophista, whatever. I don't even know what he becomes later, but
I think mostly of like the new romantic bands when I think of new wave, which is a subgenre of new wave, but isn't
mhm.
on our list here. I think of like your Duran Durans and your Talk Talks and Human League and that kind of stuff more as what new wave is.
What about like Blondie and the Cars?
The Cars, I think, yeah, I guess they both are. Blondie kind of didn't start that way, but kind of became more new wavy, I think.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I like all those bands in the genre. I don't know if it's a real genre the way it's composed on Rate Your Music, but I mean, I'd have it above emo and stoner rock, so it's looking like A.
I'm fine with A. I mean, I like it more than Britpop and metal.
Okay,
Noise rock.
that's an F.
It's an F.
Uh, well, according to Rate Your Music, noise, we got Ground Zero, more Lingua Ignota, Ramla, Maria and the Mirrors, Uboa, Merzbow.
So I think there's a lot of noise rock that I don't like, and based on a lot of that stuff, it would be F. But I think it depends. If are you counting? I think you could say that Sonic Youth. Is there any Sonic Youth there? Are they calling Sonic Youth noise? Are they
Well,
are
they're
they
calling it
calling?
noise rock. So they do differentiate between, I don't think there is a noise rock there, so we can include noise rock, which you got In Utero, Nirvana, Daydream Nation, Sonic Youth, you got Velvet Underground, Death Grips, Boris, uh, Dinosaur Jr., Drive Like Jehu, Yehu. So there's kind of a lot that opens things up a lot.
Yeah, if you got Dinosaur Jr. in there, that's one of my favorite bands of all time. It still doesn't push the genre as a whole that high, but it might go to D.
D, okay, that's fine. It's better than the ones in F. So
Yeah. And then we got Yacht Rock.
yeah, rock, baby. The king of all genres. Got Steely Dan, later period Steely Dan, Sugar Babe, Gino Vanelli, Boz Scaggs, Bobby Caldwell, Airplay. Yacht Rock's another one where you have a bunch of albums, like the actual like artists of Yacht Rock, probably not the greatest variety there. Um, but then you got Steely Dan putting their foot in and some other cool stuff. Christopher Cross, Doobie Brothers,
Yeah,
Michael
it's
McDonald.
these type of artists, most of them I'm not gonna like throw a record on and listen to. It's good for a certain mood, maybe a playlist here and there. I don't dislike it, but it's not something I'm gravitating towards that much. Probably a C for me.
It'd probably be a B or A for me.
I'll go to B
A
with
lot
it
of good
then.
stuff. They got a lot of Hall and Oates in there. Beauty on a Backstreet. That's Yacht Rock.
Yeah, fair. Okay, B.
Sweet.
Next up, we got some pop genres. Twee pop.
We Pop. You got your Bell and Sebastians, your Quiero Bonito, who is beloved on Rate Your Music apparently. Always, at least the early stuff. I don't know if all of their stuff counts as Twee Pop. Tiger Trap is a big one.
I like some twee pop. This is like I don't know. A lot of stuff falls into this genre that I'm not crazy about, but I do kind of have a tendency to like twee things. So
You do. You love the twee.
it'd be A or S for me. Probably A.
Yeah, I guess I can live with that. I'm more of a, I say B.
We'll go top of B. That's fine. All
Doesn't quite
right.
have the depth.
Power pop for me is a slam dunk S. It's one of my favorite subgenres from all eras. I love the early power pop stuff, your Badfingers, your Raspberries. I love some of my favorite 80s music. It would be considered power pop all the way up through Sloan in the 90s and up till today. Basically, any era. I just yeah, love it.
Yeah, I mean, the list on RYM got the Weezers, the Jeff Rosenstocks, the Big Stars, the Cars. You got some Jam. You got Jellyfish, Jason Faulkner, Reliant K. But then you have like Nick Lowe and Joe Jackson, and they have Supergrass on here, and uh, Sugar is Power Pop, Marshall Crenshaw, Teenage Fan Club. Like those are all S rank for me, as far as I'm concerned.
All right, space rock.
Let's see who falls into space rock. You got your Okay, it's kind of a weird list. You get Spiritualized, Stereolab, Gong, Hawkwind, Nectar, Spacemen 3. That's a pretty weird list. Pink Floyd's on here. That's kind of a weird one.
It's kind of similar to Dream Pop for me, where it's like I like the sound of those bands. I just don't think they write, most of them don't write great songs. So it's really more of a sonic thing, which is not what I normally gravitate towards. In the instances where those bands do write more song focused stuff, I can get into it. But overall, that's going to be like a C for me.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Then we've got indie pop.
Which is just a massively broad category here. You got the Smiths, you got Sufjan Stevens, you got Black Country New Road, Radiohead, Sweet Trip, Arcade Fire, Belle and Sebastian, Elliott Smith, Beach House, Cara Bonito again, Magnetic Fields, Always, XTC, Sparkle Horse, like just it's like everybody. Like everyone post, the Smiths on. If you weren't like mainstream, you were indie pop apparently.
This is my bread and butter. This is probably like my favorite genre, period. So it is broad, so there's obviously things in there that I maybe don't like as much, but most things that fall in indie pop, there's a good chance I'm gonna like it a lot.
It's tough. I mean, it's probably B, A or B for me.
We'll go like high A then. All right. Next up we've got Two Tone, which I believe is like your second wave ska stuff from the UK.
Yeah, you got Madness, Specials, The Beat, General Public, and Desmond Decker. And that's kind of it. It really, this is a short period for 210. It's about 4 years from 79 to 82. And I guess it goes on a little bit, but even at its height, the most releases ever for the genre in 1 year was 89. So it is just a tiny, tiny little genre.
I don't know a ton of this stuff, and what I do know is fine, but it's not something that I ever really put on. So it's probably D.
Yeah.
All right, then we would go from that to your third wave ska, which is more of your California scene, I think.
So I'm guessing this is like ska punk
Yeah, that's what I think third wave ska is. Kind of your Real Big Fish, your Boss Tones, your early No Doubt.
Operation Ivy, Streetlight Manifesto, Less Than Jake, Sublime. They all fall in here. Rancid.
Yeah, I probably like that stuff more than the two-tone stuff, but probably not by much. Might go to C with it, but it's like maybe like top of D or C.
Probably D.
All right, then we got indie rock.
Which again, a genre that just literally everything that isn't super popular, but that the underground people love. My Bloody Valentine. You got Neutral Milk Hotel, Pixies, Black Country New Road, Modest Mouse. They throw bands like The Strokes in here as well.
Yeah, pretty similar to indie pop, a little more guitar focused, a bit more distortion sometimes. I like most of those bands. I don't like indie rock. I don't, yeah, probably hearing that list of bands, I don't like it as much as indie pop.
Well, it also has Wilco in there, and
Yeah,
the Pixies,
it's
Modest
probably,
Mouse, Built to Spill, Dinosaur Jr., Yellow
yeah,
King. It's everything. They just throw everything in here.
yeah, it's probably A for me.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably enough here that I like. It's wide enough to catch. Yeah, fine.
Okay, then we got slacker rock.
That is an F for me. I hate it. I hate everything about slackers. I'm against them.
Who we got here? We got like Dinosaur Jr., Pavement.
Microphones, Duster, Pavement, Dinosaur Jr., Silver Jews, Mitski, Modest Mouse, car seat headrest, guided by voices.
It's weird. A lot of those bands, like I either like them a lot or I don't like them very much at all. It's kind of a split for me. So I guess I'd put it in as like a B or C genre. If you're an F,
More, I'd say D. It's a D genre for me.
all right, we'll
I mean, it's
go.
still, even I can say it's better than third wave ska.
Okay, we'll go bottom of C then.
Okay.
And then we got No Wave.
No way. This is the worst of all genres, early Sonic Youth, Glenn Branca, Swans, bunch of other stuff I've never heard of, Massacre, just the worst of all.
Yeah, you don't have to convince me. It's already enough. Next up, we've got Brill Building.
Named after, of course, the Brill Building in New York, where a bunch of poppy songwriters hone their craft. According to Rate Your Music, you got the Ronettes, Shangri-La's, Burt Bacharach, Dionne Warwick, Leslie Gore, Dion and the Belmonts, the Crystals, even Leonard Cohen falls in here, Paul Anka.
I love a ton of songs that come out of the Brill Building. It's kind of like that pre-LP era, so I don't listen to it that often because I'm so album focused all the time. But yeah, I love this stuff. I love this sound and this era of pop. So it's at least an A for me. Probably an A.
Yeah, A's fine. There's not quite enough classic albums, I don't think, but really, really great songs, obviously.
Next, we got another really broad one. We've got alternative.
Which is basically everything.
All rock since the 80s.
Yeah, I mean, for reggae music, that falls under alternative rock. So you got Radiohead, you got the Smiths, you got the Cocteau Twins, you got Pixies, it's Fishmans again, they're everywhere. Nirvana, Sonic Youth, Jeff Buckley, The Strokes, Arcade Fire, Queens of the Stone Age, Smashing Pumpkins, Fiona Apple, Stone Roses, Alice in Chains. Literally everyone is alternative rock at this point. Ween, Weezer, Wilco.
Yeah, I mean,
It's got to be S, right? There's too much good stuff there, and it encompasses too much.
I guess there's a lot of bad stuff in it though. I was gonna say A, but we can go S.
I mean, we can go A. I don't care.
We can talk about those really broad ones at the end.
Okay. I mean,
Revisit.
the lowest one, I'm looking at the 5,000th rated one is still a 3.21. It's pretty good. You got 4,992, 16 Stone by Bush, so that's not too bad.
All right, next up is Surf.
Okay, that's a pretty narrow one.
Yeah, this was a very popular 1963, 2, 3, 4 is like I think, the big surf window.
Yeah, it's pretty much they have it starting around 57 was the first one, and it pretty much ends in 68. So yeah, it went on a little longer. 63 and 64 is the peak. You're looking at the Ventures, Dick Dale, Link Ray, stuff like that.
Listen to a decent amount of it for the 63 deep dive. This is a genre where I feel like the peak stuff is really cool, and then there's a pretty quick drop off after like the top players in the genre. Uh, it's like a D tier for me.
Yeah.
All right, Baroque pop.
Baroque, it's another one that has like everybody has an album in Baroque pop, whether or not they're like strictly Baroque pop artists. You got your Beach Boys, Pet Sounds, Odyssey and Oracle, Wise Blood, Scott Walker, Kate Bush, The Kinks, Moody Blues, John Cale are in here, Brian Wilson, Love, Left Bank, Nilsson. I mean, at its very peak, probably my favorite type of music,
It's
or one of them.
it's S for me for sure.
Yeah. Why are you even talking? Just throw it an S.
I mean, even if you're not a Baroque pop artist, if that's not your main genre, you add a couple Baroque elements, there's no way I'm not going to like it more. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's only going to help. Next, we've got Jangle Pop.
It's an interesting one. You got Smiths, REM, Sundays, Always, The Go-Betweens, Teenage Fan Club falls in here, The Church, Prefab Sprout. That's, I mean, some heavy hitters for sure. Robin Hitchcock, Cardigans.
Yeah, this is like borderline S for me.
I know, it's like right there.
Probably A.
Yeah, I think A is good. Maybe just not quite enough uh artists in it. Pretty good though. Pretty good genre.
Next up, we've got beat music. This is like your early 60s British kind of mixing rock and roll, blues, stuff like that with skiffle. Your early Beatles stuff, I think, might fall into here.
Yeah, on RYM you got The Who, Sell Out. You got Shocking Blue, The Yardbirds, The Move, the early Hollies stuff. I don't know if the Beatles are on here or not. I can never tell because people are just insane with their ratings. Small Faces, first Zombies album. Okay, yeah, here's the Beatles. I had to scroll down a lot to get to them because they have such low rating on Rate Your Music for the early ones. Please, Please, Maze. 3.32, which is insane. So I mean, I like all these albums. Like the Easy Beats have some cool stuff. I just don't know. Like it kind of runs out of steam pretty fast.
Probably B for me.
Yeah, that's fine.
Next, we got Sunshine Pop.
And that's, I mean, that's pretty close to Baroque.
Yeah, I
So a
love it.
little later, maybe? I don't know. It's hard to tell. I guess it was around the same time. The way the Rate Your Music classifies it, they have the Millennium, Sunflower from the Beach Boys, Neil Diamond, Margot Guryan, more Beach Boys, and then some later stuff from like City Pop era, the Monkees. So a little less of the orchestration, I guess. A little less of the, I don't know how you differentiate them really.
Yeah, this one is maybe S or A for me. Uh,
Wait, A for me. I don't think it's quite as good as Baroque pop.
Next up, we got Slowcore.
Well, I don't know what that is, but I already know I hate it.
It's going
So
to be a
let's see.
bunch of low albums probably in the top 10.
Yeah, Duster, Red House Painters, Low, Songs Ohio, MJ Lenderman, Cat Power, Galaxy 500.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate all that stuff. Some of it I don't really like that much, but some of it I do. Uh, I like Cat Power. I like.
I don't, I guess I don't hate any of these artists.
I'm not big on low, but this is C probably.
Yeah, maybe that seems right. Again, it's better than ska, so
Next up is Rockabilly.
let's see who falls under rockabilly here. You got your gun clubs, your Buddy Hollies, your Cramps, your Johnny Cashes, your Stray Cats. It's a weird mix right there.
Yeah, it had like that revival in like the 80s.
Hmm.
I like your OG Rockabillys, your Eddie Cochran's. That stuff is cool. the revival stuff and the more it mixed with punk does not interest me really very much. So, uh, on the whole, maybe C or D.
Mm, that's tough. Probably be top of D or bottom of C. Got some interesting stuff in there, but
Yeah, we'll go bottom C.
okay.
Joe's favorite genre, post-punk.
Hmm. Well,
When I think of the sound of a post-punk band, I don't like it. But I know that there are a lot of actually a lot of post-punk records that I do like. But the very like the most typical sound, that like deep voiced monotone vocal, I do not like.
yeah, I mean, reggae music has a whole lot more than you'd really expect. Like they have Remain in Light by Talking Heads as post-punk. They have Disintegration by The Cure, Marquee Moon by Television, LCD Sound System, Interpol, Gang
Yeah.
of Four, Nick Cave, Wire, Susie and the Banshees, stuff like that. I mean, I do like a fair amount of those things, but I also feel like it's just so overrated at this point that I can never truly love it.
It's a weird one because yeah, there's a lot of it that I do like a lot. It's like 50-50. Half of the genre I really, really like, and half of it I really don't. Uh, maybe B.
I can live with that.
All right. Next up, we have grunge.
Most narrow of genres. It really only lasted from like 89 to 97. Kind of, it was dead uh, by then. Your Nirvanas, your Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam. They have Hole and Mad Season and Failure and Screaming Trees, Stone Temple Pilots in here as well. Babes in Toyland, L7, Tad, the usual stuff.
This is one, I don't know how I feel about it lately. Coming back to it, like revisiting a lot of these bands, like I think a lot of them are pretty overrated. People recall, I was pretty down on Alice in Chains, and I don't know,
Wrong. Bad.
Soundgarden, not my favorite band. I still like a lot of the Pearl Jam stuff, but I was never that big of a Nirvana fan. Uh, I don't know. I think there's a lot of like grunge adjacent things that are more interesting than the big grunge bands.
Eh, I disagree.
So I don't know. For me, it's like a B probably.
I'd have it A just because there weren't a lot of bad grunge bands. To me, they're all, I mean, if you were in grunge, if you were a big four, and even like Screaming Trees, Stone Temple Pilots, like I think all those bands kind of kick ass, and there's really nobody dragging it down like so many of these genres.
All right, next up we've got AOR.
You got your Journeys, your Bostons, your Harem Scarums, your I gotta scroll down here because AOR just doesn't really exist on radio music. Or perhaps everything is just so lowly rated that I can't find anything. Your REO Speedwagons, your Styx, Foreigner probably, Survivor, stuff like that. The laughing stocks of the music world.
Yeah. Um, there's some good stuff in this genre. There's also some pretty bad stuff. Feeling kind of like a C.
Yeah, it goes somewhere between B and C, I think. Too many bad. bands and albums in this genre. Although I think as a whole, it gets way more shit than it deserves.
I agree. Next up, we got art rock.
Art rock, that's going to be stuff like Talking Heads, who fall in like 600 different categories. Radiohead, Pink Floyd, King Crimson. So like prog rock adjacent stuff. But then also stuff like Velvet Underground, David Bowie, post-punk stuff, Black Country New Road, Ian Eno.
Yeah, it's a broad one. The best of the genre is S tier for me, but there's a lot of other stuff that probably pulls it down to A for me.
That's tough because the top is like many of my favorite albums of all time. But then the bottom, I don't know. I don't know what would even be in here. I mean, I'd probably have an S personally, but I can live with A.
Uh, Punk, just generally.
Punk in general. Well, I think rate your music also includes like post-punk because I see Talking Heads, The Cure, Slint, Joy Division next to the Stooges, The Clash, uh, Link Ray, some Kink stuff from the beginning, some The Who stuff from the beginning. At the drive-in, it's too much. It encompasses too much here. Dead Kennedys. So it's literally everything that's like not quite rock and roll, I guess. Sushi and the Banshees and Patti Smith.
So back in the day, it was like you chose a side. You're either like a metalhead or a punker, punk rocker. It's weird for me. I think aesthetically and what I think is cool, I think punk is a lot cooler, but I probably like more metal albums than I do punk albums. Uh, so I don't know. There's a handful of punk bands that I do kind of like, but generally speaking, it's not one of my favorite genres.
I mean,
So
yeah. Yeah, if you're going to rate your music, it would probably be like an A, but I think in reality, it's more like a B because I'm not including all those post-punk albums in punk. That's
yeah,
ridiculous.
no, I wouldn't count all the post-punk stuff. I would put it probably like top of D, bottom C.
Sure.
You said B, so I guess we'll go C.
Sure. Whatever. I don't care. I don't like punk attitude, so
All right, then we got Christian rock.
well, uh is POD included? I kind of liked POD back in the day.
Yeah, who else? Jars of Clay.
There's a Clay, Striper.
I
Okay.
think on the whole, those probably be an F for me.
Yeah, throw it an F, going straight to hell. Put an F. I don't care.
The only Christian rock that I really like is like when you can't tell it's Christian.
Yeah.
All right, glam.
Glam rock, another kind of blew up and then died pretty hard, pretty fast kind of genre, but it lived large. David Bowie, Brian Eno, Lou Reed, T-Rex, Roxy Music, Sparks. They even throw in some Alice Cooper, Queen, and for some reason they put Suede in there as well. But
Okay.
just randomly, so okay, here's everything from the 70s and Suede.
Well, the problem with rate your music and using that is that, something gets listed as like they have a hint of that influence in their sound. So it gets listed as like a subgenre and then they get included in the lists. So, uh,
For the most part, Queen, Roxy Music, Alice Cooper, David Bowie, early stuff, T-Rex.
yeah, a lot of my favorite music of all time. This would be a S for me, probably.
Really A for me, but
We'll
I
put
don't
it in
know.
this top of
Could
A
be.
section is like, I feel like these four are like really borderline for S. So
Yeah, we can move some up.
okay, then we got garage rock.
Which is the Strokes, the Stooges, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, Modern Lovers, Iggy Pop, White Stripes, Arctic Monkeys, the Sonics, the
There we go.
Drones.
Sonics is the first one that I think of as like a garage rock band. All those other ones are kind of like
Yeah, garage rock.
garage influenced bands.
Yeah. I mean, other than the Stooges, I guess they would count
Yeah,
as,
Stooges would count too.
but other than that, I think these are all frauds when it comes to garage rock. 13th Floor Elevators would be in there. That's a real one. I think I've seen a Cramps album in every single genre.
I'd say it's C for me.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine.
Shoegaze.
Ooh, rate your music's very, very favorite genre. You have My Bloody Valentine, Slow Dive, Lift to Experience, Soda Stereo. They throw like Always and Parannoul in here. It's one of the few genres that seems to be getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
This last year was the largest amount of shoegaze albums released. So,
The Zoomers are real into
hmm
shoegaze. I like shoegaze less than the dream pop. Like I think they're closely associated.
hmm
Dream pop might even be considered like a subgenre of shoegaze. Um, between the two, I lean more towards the dream pop sound than the like wall of guitar kind of sound.
Well, I guess we have to
So
go to C then.
where's that?
Dream Pop's in C, so shoegaze has to be. Would you
Top of
drop it
D.
all the way to D or the bottom of C?
Probably D for me.
Okay, let's do it. Love it. Here for it.
All right, next up we got prog. We had a very controversial prog tier list earlier.
It's a tough one because it has many of my favorite albums of all time. Your Pink Floyd's, your King Crimson's, Yes, Rush, Jethro Tull, even some new stuff like Mars Volta, Black Midi's in there. But also just some of the worst, most pretentious garbage ever made. So I don't know. As a whole, it's probably an A because I do like a lot of it a lot.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I like the surface level. I like the prog starter kit stuff. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, once you go deep, then it gets a little scary.
the deep prog heads get into some stuff that I just think is terrible.
Can't go can't follow them that far down.
I don't know if I'd go. I guess I'd go A. I don't know. A or B. You can go A.
I mean, A is pretty crowded, but
All right. Then we got post rock.
gotta find what they call it.
It's going to be your explosions in the sky and your Godspeed, you Black Emperor.
Slint, Swans, Siguros.
It's an F for me. I
Yeah.
mean, I like some Seeger Rose stuff, but yeah, mostly I
As a whole, yes, the only good band is Talk Talk. So F is fine.
psych rock.
Jimi Hendrix Experience, The Doors, Can, Funkadelic, Pink Floyd's early stuff, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard fall under there. A couple albums. You are a notorious hater of psychedelic rock. Am I right?
Uh, yes and no. I mean, I don't really like the very like the Haight Ashbury scene, like the hippie psych rock stuff. But there is like psych rock stuff, like the more modern stuff, like when King Gizzard does do their more psych sound, I think that's cool. And yeah, there's definitely psych rock that I like. But as far as like the hippie version of that is not I'm not that big of a fan of.
Well, they have it's one where there's a whole bunch of albums from people you might not expect, like Notorious Bird Brothers is in here. You got The Pretty Things with SF Sorrow, Mothers of Invention, Lonerism by Tame Impala.
Yeah, I think on the whole, it's probably a B tier for me.
Yeah, for me it's an A, but I can live with B.
Okay. Screamo.
Hmm.
This is worse than emo, right? We agree on that?
Yes, definitely worse than emo. Emo's stupider cousin, I guess. Anything good in like that world, I think falls under just regular emo. Because the Screamo stuff I'm looking at, I don't know if I've ever heard of any of these bands in my entire life. You have Orchid, Korea, Satya, Portraits of Past, City of Caterpillar, Jerome's Dream, Love Lost but Not Forgotten.
When I think of Screamo, the first band I think of is Thursday. Are they Screamo?
I'll have to look it up because I'm not seeing any bands that I've ever heard of at all. I guess technically Thursday is not Screamo. They're post-hardcore, emo, and alternative rock.
Interesting.
So Screamo's an F.
Okay. And then we got pub rock.
Love me some pub rock. Elvis Costello, Nick Lowe, Graham Parker. But then after that, I don't know. It's a quick burnout genre, peaked in 78 and it's pretty much gone by 1982. And I think even like the pub rock people had transitioned into something new and more exciting.
Yeah. Uh, I think B, B or
Thinking
C.
B. Thinking B.
Last one, Synthpop.
Well, let's see what they classify as synth pop, because I could go different ways here. It seems to be, that's okay. It's a pretty wide variety here. You got Depeche Mode, Kraftwerk, Harley Rae Jepsen, New Order, Yellow Magic Orchestra, Time by ELO, and that's just the first 10. So,
Time is in the
Lords,
top 10.
what?
Time is in the top 10 Synthpop albums.
Yeah, people freaking love Time on Rate Your Music.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's really bizarre. 808s and Heartbreak by Kanye West is on here. Bunch of Pet Shop Boys, but then you have Tame Impala with Currents. Magnetic Fields is on here. Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark. Just like anyone who's ever used a synth in a pop song is in here. Sparks, Simple Minds.
Probably B for me.
I'm guessing it's probably a B, even though I really like a lot of these. I don't know. I feel like it's just too wide of a genre. Like you got Duran Duran and ABC, who I love, but I'm sure there's real crap in here too. Actually, you know what? I'd say A, to be honest.
Okay. Okay. All right. That's it. You want to revisit any? You want to talk about this top of A? You want to move some of those up?
Yeah, we should probably move something up to S, at least one or two.
I mean, which is your favorite of A?
And I think the most consistently good probably be like Glam and I don't know, art rock or indie rock maybe.
I'd be fine with moving all four of these up.
Yeah, move them up. Screw it.
Normally we have like a curve
Be
going. This is
even.
like it's almost even per tier.
Yeah, I think that makes pretty good sense. Looks good. Although where's rap rock? They forgot rap rock.
Well, new metal's close enough, right? Wouldn't most rap rock fall under new metal?
I guess that's true. That's true.
All right. Well, there you go. Let us know how we did, what you think of our list, what your favorite genres are, what your least favorite genres are. Let us know what genres we should have included that we didn't. If we get enough of them, maybe we can do a part two. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. Check out the video description for Patreon and our social media. Follow all of that stuff. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.